My name is Quinton Friesen, and this is Module 5 of 15 in 4 Essential Disciplines, a training guide for healthcare leaders worldwide. My colleague, Ken Hekman, and I are leading you through 15 modules to help you improve your knowledge, skills, and attitudes as a healthcare leader. In this module, we'll focus on how leaders inspire people. We've all had heroes in our lives, people we look up to and admire. We've also had people in our lives that have been negative, taking us in the wrong direction. As I've been preparing for this session, I've been thinking about people who have been inspirational in my life. I think about teachers, scout leaders, professors in college, and mentors in my work. I've had great bosses, and I've had some that weren't so great. What is it that brings these heroes and mentors to our mind? What is it about them that causes me to want to be like them? In this session, we are going to talk about inspiration, about being an inspirational leader. You may never have thought about yourself as being inspirational. The reality is that to those you lead, you are the person that sets the tone and direction of your leadership. In other words, inspirational leaders motivate us to accomplish something, often more than we ever thought we could achieve. Effective leaders are able to inspire, to motivate, to challenge, to stimulate their staff to creative or effective action.
I'm inspired to ask more. Why are effective leaders inspirational?
Inspiration is hard to define. It's often easier to see and experience. Inspirational leaders pursue goals that help people. They are persistent in their pursuit of goals. They are able to mobilize and motivate followers. Inspirational leaders are totally committed to their goals regardless of the consequences. They are men and women of integrity. Peter Drucker said, "Management is getting things done through other people."
Let's break that down. What are our learning objectives about inspirational leadership?
In this session, we will talk about 4 aspects of inspirational leadership. We will recognize the central importance of trust as a leadership tool and how actions and words can build trust and destroy it just as easily. We will appreciate the connection between leadership, integrity, and leader effectiveness. We will point out how a leader shapes the culture of the organization by the way he or she treats people. We will understand the importance of continuous professional development in leadership.
Let's talk about the relationship between words and actions and how that builds trust in leaders. Can you tell us a story about how words and actions impacted trust for a leader in your experience as a hospital executive?
Several years ago, I worked with a new manager who was just appointed to be director of the operating room. Her attitudes and expectations were much different than her predecessor and different from the existing culture of the department. In fact, her leadership style was directly opposite of the previous leader. The operating room had taken on a careless attitude, and there was little accountability. In addition, there was a group of long-term employees who were not interested in change. In fact, they resisted change. The new manager began to speak about new attitudes, new ways of doing things, and being accountable for actions. It wasn't long before an issue came up. The previous director had unfairly treated one of her assistants. The new director saw this inequity and sought to correct the situation. The entire department also knew that the assistant had been mistreated. The new operating room director went to the person who was unfairly treated and apologized for the injustice she had observed. Then she restored her previous responsibilities. My point is this. The new director spoke about new attitudes and values, and she acted in ways that were consistent with those new values by correcting an injustice of her predecessor. Immediately, the staff saw that there was a relationship between the new director's words and her actions. The outcome was that the new director gained immediate credibility with the staff. Because of her integrity, the staff could see a direct correlation between her words and actions. Their reaction was, "Here is a person we can trust." Trust requires more than one instance of doing what you say. It requires consistently acting according to your values. Once you've demonstrated consistency between words and actions, the staff will be watching to see if you are consistent in other situations. If you are consistent, it builds trust. If you are not consistent, you lose trust. Consistency builds trust.
Do you think there is a relationship among honesty, integrity, and character? How do these attributes, practiced consistently, build trust?
Some years ago, a group of doctors and the administration were negotiating a contract for employment. Each party was suspicious of the other. Both sides gradually exposed new facts as they each explained their position. After several negotiating sessions, the negotiations broke off. Each side kept the negotiations confidential and did not say anything negative about the other side. The doctors pursued other options successfully, but these options did not meet the doctors' long-term needs for security. So several months later, they resumed negotiations with the hospital. Each side worked hard to make the best deal without abandoning their core principles. Each side treated the other with respect. When factual questions were asked, factual information was provided. Over time, an agreement was reached. Each party built trust with the other because they were honest in their dealings. Each side demonstrated integrity, doing the right thing based on what they believed. Each side demonstrated character, acknowledging and respecting concessions. Once the contract was negotiated, it was implemented in the spirit of the negotiations, with honesty and integrity. The doctors gained the security they were seeking, and the hospital gained a loyal, well-qualified physician group to its medical staff. Finally, healthcare leaders are building organizations of human compassion. There is no room for corruption, dishonesty, or lapses of integrity. When these are present, it weighs down the organization. My point is this: corruption, dishonesty, and lapses of integrity diminish the organization and prevent it from achieving its mission. People know that it's there and are distracted by it. Corruption, dishonesty, and lapses of integrity take a toll on the organization that prevents the organization from moving forward.
I have a friend who is leading a clinic in a developing country. He told me the toll corruption took on his organization before he arrived. The organization almost went out of business because of corruption. Because of his values, perspective, and persistence, he is rooting out corruption and building an organization that will thrive in the future. The clinic, its patients, and the community all benefit because this leader courageously turned the clinic around.
In another organization, employee turnover was very high. As we worked to get to the root cause, I asked a colleague to come in as a consultant and interview all of the staff in the department. After a couple of days, the consultant came to me and told me what was going on. One of the leaders is taking advantage of the staff members. Quinton, you have to deal with this immediately. The physician director was informed of the problem and immediately confronted the inappropriate leader and said this behavior has got to stop. Once the staff saw that the behavior was stopped, they all gave a sigh of relief. They no longer had to worry about being taken advantage of. It was like there was a breath of fresh air coming into the department. The staff knows when leadership demonstrates integrity, honesty, and character. When the leader deals with interpersonal issues, the staff respects that leader and will respond to her leadership. They will focus on the work that needs to be done. Ken, let's talk about other ways to build trust. Do you think delegation builds trust among staff?
Leadership is an art. As with any art, expertise grows with practice and experience. Successful managers blend leadership with their own leadership style, transforming their organizations into strong providers of healthcare. An important way to build staff trust and support is through delegation of authority to others under their command. The first rule of delegation is to delegate to the appropriate level of the organization. If the one to whom a task is delegated does not have the skills or resources to complete the task, it is up to the leader to assure that these are provided. Delegation can be learned in a staged manner. A leader has to discern when his or her staff can take on new responsibilities. There are 4 stages of delegation, and the stage for each task will depend on how critical the task is, how competent the worker is, and the trust that the manager has in the worker. If the worker is new and the task is critical, the manager might delegate a task at stage 1 by saying, "I'll tell you exactly what to do and how to do it." As the worker demonstrates his competence, the manager might advance to stage 2. "You recommend solutions to this problem, and I'll decide which one to implement." As trust between the worker and the manager grows, the manager might advance to stage 3. "You research, decide, and implement solutions, and report back to me on the results." When the manager and worker reach a level of complete trust in the competence of the worker, the manager might say, according to stage 4, "Just go ahead and get the job done."
There are some perceived pitfalls of delegation. The person who delegates takes on a persona of superiority. The person who delegates dumps all of the responsibility on the team and then fails to support the team. Some people feel that when they delegate, they are giving up a piece of themselves.
What are some delegation myths?
Delegating takes more time than doing it myself. I cannot delegate because my team does not have the skills. Mistakes are costly. Team members are specialists and don't have the big picture. The right to delegate must be earned just the same way the right to lead is earned. Employees will more likely trust their leader if the leader understands the employee's working conditions. Making rounds at different times builds relationship with the staff and builds trust. One manager I know made rounds every Christmas morning.
You will notice in the book, 4 Essential Disciplines, that leaders are constantly improving their leadership skills. How does a leader do that?
Healthcare leaders are change agents. Nothing stays the same very long. A new procedure, a new medicine, or a new doctor joins the staff. Healthcare is in constant motion. Successful leaders are able to build change into the culture of the organization. Setting a clear mission and vision enables the organization to stay focused while adapting to changing circumstances. It enables the leaders and the staff to stay grounded despite distractions. Without a clear mission and vision, the organization is rudderless. It creates uncertainty and anxiety. Conflict is inevitable. The skillful leader will learn how to anticipate change, promote change, and respond to change. In addition, she will be effective in managing the change process. One person describes 3 phases to the change process. Unfreezing, that is, bringing the organization or individual to realization that change must occur, bringing about the change itself, and then refreezing the new process or behavior. Effective leaders use problem-solving techniques to either create change or respond to change. They describe the problem, brainstorm solutions, evaluate alternatives, ideas, and prioritize solutions, implement the decision, and then evaluate the results. Years ago, I worked with a construction leader who would quietly sit at the table as the staff discussed an issue and how to resolve it. You could watch him as he was listening and making notes on a piece of paper. Then he would speak up, clearly defining the problem, why it was a problem, and suggest a solution to the problem. Because he had carefully listened to the discussion, he was able to sift out all of the insignificant details and cut to the key issue and have a solution to the problem. People understood what he was saying and often quickly agreed with his solution and then moved to implementing that solution. The point is, he listened. He accurately defined the problem and had a concise, clear solution to solve the problem.
One technique that you can use to solve problems is to use the brainstorming technique. Here are some rules for brainstorming to generate new ideas. Gather together trusted leaders and staff and define a problem you want to work on. Ask the team to suggest solutions or alternatives. Focus on quantity of ideas. Generate lots of ideas. Withhold criticism or critique as the ideas come forward. Welcome unusual ideas. Combine and improve ideas. Finally, effective leaders are always learning and seeking new knowledge from whatever sources can be found, such as lectures, courses, reading, conversations with mentors, and participating in events at professional associations, colleges, and universities.
In summary, to be an inspiring leader, who you are on the inside and the character you present is more important than the position you hold. Words and actions must be consistent to build credibility. Character traits of honesty and integrity build trust. Delegation builds trust among staff. Delegation is a learned skill and can be developed. You are a change agent. As a change agent, use problem-solving skills and brainstorming to solicit and develop solutions. Leaders are lifelong learners.
Let's look at some common questions about inspirational leadership. My personality just isn't charismatic. How can I inspire people when it seems inconsistent with who I am?
You don't have to be charismatic to be consistent in your words and actions, or to demonstrate integrity, honesty, and character. Sometimes charismatic people draw attention to themselves, but fail to follow through with the kinds of actions that inspire followers. Look for ways to apply your personality in a manner that people will admire because you are an effective change agent and because you are able to prove your trustworthiness.
If I delegate tasks to my team, won't my boss start to wonder why he needs me?
If you and your team can accomplish more work more efficiently by delegating tasks than by keeping them to yourself, your boss will likely thank you and prepare you for a promotion. Proper delegation can increase your effectiveness rather than diminish it. This concludes Module 5 of 15. Thank you for listening. In the next module, we will conclude the discipline of leadership and set the stage to explore the other three disciplines: management, sustainability, and service.